Hang on. Okay. We're trying something new tonight. Welcome, everybody. This is not District 420. We are transitioning over to Block Party. So I'm Hefe. We got my co-host with us here, No Futuristic, and we're hanging out in the GMI studio. How's your week going this week? What's been going on? Oh, I think we might have a technical difficulty.
Hey, Hefe, test. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
No,
I can.
Yeah,
I can hear you just
Now,
fine.
I can hear you now. I was muted on this computer. We're trying a new
Okay.
setup. Let me also show myself. I'm a real person. Hey.
Yeah, here we
Yes,
go.
friends.
All right, man. Yeah, we got something a little bit different for you guys tonight. We are in the GMI studio, and I think I've finally figured out how to use it after all this time. So
It looks great. I'll say.
I
To be honest, I like this kind of helps out a lot because I've taken on Grim R's 50 gotchis, and I was a little worried about tonight because he has 6 level 9s and 2 of them are his galleries. And legit, both of those galleries, when I go to channel on them, I've had my basically I've had my laptop completely just crash trying to channel on those galleries. So even on this on my main computer, which you're seeing me channel on right now, it gets a little funky there. Actually, we'll do this. We'll go back to the deep. Oh, that doesn't do what I want it to do. There we go.
nice.
Yeah. If I try channeling his land on this computer, like usually I'll be watching something, like Futurama, and the whole computer just starts to really lag up. So I was worried that if I was streaming using this computer while trying to channel, it was gonna like explode or something. But we're good to go.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad I
I'm
could take up a little bit of that bandwidth and actually take some of that on here onto the stream. And it seems like there's a growth curve. So tonight I just figured out how to use it. I got you on the show. That was like a major challenge. Overcame that. Now I have on the side here there's a panel, and you can start customizing things. I guess there's like like the branding, there's a theme, so we can start like actually putting in cards for you can start putting in cards for like block party, if we're switching a topic. They got overlays, we can throw video clips in here. There's like all these other features that I'm sure I'm gonna eventually figure out. They even have like QR code generator, so we could have our own treasury for the show, and then have our QR code. And whenever there's donations someone wants to make to the show, we can have a QR code for the for that wallet or whatever. So
Okay, so Hefe, real quick, there's a echo coming from you. So I see Choina saying this. Choina, is the echo also for me, or is it just Hefe? Because if it's just Hefe, then it's probably something on your side where you might have to mute another tab. Like you might have Twitch open or something. Oh, just Hefe. Yeah, so it's something on your side. He has so much personality that you have to hear everything he says 2 or 3 times. You would think it was me, but no, it's
let's try something here. I'm gonna How about now? Is it fixed? Did I fix it? It might have gone away.
It wasn't echoing until your audio came through. Huh, interesting.
The lines are crossed.
So it's just you, but Light Piglet said, yeah, better. Okay, it's better. We'll figure this out. I noticed when you guys were doing your GMI call, whenever you talked, there was some echo. So I wonder, because you're getting my sound, right? So maybe we got to figure this out real quick. I haven't gotten high yet, so it's good that we can work on this. Okay.
I'm the high one
here.
Good. They're saying now it's good, but I just want to make sure y'all can hear me through the stream. So as long as you can hear me through the stream, I think we're good.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is potentially what's happening is right now you're receiving my audio, right? But my audio is also your audio. I have your audio coming into my system, and then it's sending both of our audios to Restream. So maybe what I need to do, I think I know the solution. I'm going to mute you and just listen to you through the speaker. Oh, I can't do that. Wait, can I do it? Motherfucker. All right, we're going to unplug this. Okay. Hefe, talk.
Video, but Restream still taking my input.
Yeah, so your sound, I just did something here. Hopefully this works. I took your sound out of my mixer. So now I'm just listening to you through the laptop speaker. So friends, does that work? Or was that just extra and it didn't matter? I'm going to plug it back in.
Says all is well now.
Okay, let me plug it back in and we'll see if that is the case. Let's just plug your audio back in and see if that makes a difference. All right, so now your audio is coming.
Z5 saying it was fine the way it was before. Yeah, if you go back to the way it was before, it should be good.
Okay, we're back to that. So this is the way I normally do it. Oh, now you can't hear Hefe.
Yeah, no, I think.
Okay, we're back in. We're back in. So weird. They're getting your audio through me instead of your audio coming into the Restream on your own.
Dude. Well, I have myself muted on Restream. That's what that extra echo was. So I muted myself on Restream, but then I guess we still got audio coming in through you for my source.
So then what I'm guessing is, because I'm trying to look and see, you're very small on the screen, but I wonder if oh shoot, I forgot to channel one of these gotchis. I wonder if did I forget to channel? I wonder if your sound is now out of sync with your video because your sound is being provided by me. Let's do this. Sorry, friends. I know we're experimenting right here on the spot, and then we're going to get high and continue on. But unmute yourself, and I'm going to mute you and go back to my speaker setup where I just hear you through my laptop speaker. We'll do this right now. Okay, Hefe, can you hear me?
All right, test.
Have you unmuted yourself?
Yep.
Okay, friends, how does that sound?
This should sound normal because this is how we do it in the morning when I'm with my Calb. This is usually the setup we try out.
Echo is back. So yeah, the echo's on your end. All right, so we'll go back to yeah. All right, so good. It's not my fault. All right, excellent. Okay, we're back. Talk again, Hefe.
Testing. This is Hefe speaking. Testing. Hopefully, we do not have an echo.
Actually, can you bring the Restream video so that me and you are side by side? I'll go back to my full. There we go. What's that?
Okay, there's a third portion here I have to remove.
Actually, your sound is synced up. It looks fine.
Okay, let me remove that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, friends. That was an adventure.
Yeah, Z5. Well, Z5 is saying I'm muted in the studio. So why am I muted in the studio? And that's because whenever I unmute myself, that's when we get this echo for some reason. I'm not sure why. But
okay, so now we know, right? When we both have to mute, like I have my tab muted, so I'm not hearing you. I'm hearing you through my system, not through Restream, which works. And you just have to remember to mute yourself in studio. So we have that recorded. That's the answer. And we should be good.
Yeah.
Welcome to Blockpaarty, friends.
Welcome.
We just made sure
we made it.
Yeah, we're here.
We're GMI.
We're here. We tried and we made it. This is good.
We have a lot to talk about this week, man.
We do.
There's a lot that went.
There's so many things that happened this week. What do you want to talk about first? I know we had our show notes. I kind of got lost in the sauce there for a second.
I just threw a whole bunch of shit on there. Yeah, there's so Balaji, I think that's how you say it.
That's a Twitter personality, correct?
Twitter personality and just a big brain in the crypto space. He made this call, very hot take, that Bitcoin is going to reach 1 million in the next 90 days. That was his take. And it's getting, he's getting his engagement farming. His engagement farming game is strong right now. But I'm just going to throw up a couple tweets here that I thought were kind of interesting because it does kind of tie in with the whole banking crisis and the whole collapse that we're seeing right now. It all kind of ties in with that. And so,
yeah, while you grab those links, Grim R, just as a update to Grim R, check out what's it called? Aarena Network has now enabled snapshot voting. It just went live. I tested it not too long ago through Aarena safes. So if you deposit your gotchis into an Aarena safe, you can still vote with your assets, even though it's in that smart contract. So you no longer, like before, that wasn't set up. We had it so that you could do it, but you had to go through a smart contract and use a script. It's now officially live that your assets, your voting power stays with you. The XP will go to the gotchis. So now people who like, because this was a thing, a lot of people want to deposit stuff into Orium, but they were worried about the XP and the VP. That's fixed. So I want to get some of your gotchis, at least a handful of them, into the Orium scholarship so that I can utilize the level 9s that I have allocated to me. So then I don't need to use your galleries and blow up my computer. Then you also get some more. Yeah, no, it works fine if I use this computer. It's when I'm outside, I'm like worried that everything's going to fall apart. But yeah, so we're looking at this interesting looking chart here. Bitcoin to 1 million.
That's his call, man. He's saying basically because the Federal Reserve is printing so much money now to cover, to paper over debts in the banking system. We're seeing levels of borrowing that are that are that are dwarfing what we saw in 2008, and so people are seeing the way that excess liquidity is being pushed into the economy, and it's making people that are trying to save money, it's making them nervous. And so his whole call is larger players in the economy are going to start moving their long-term savings away from USD into Bitcoin.
Yeah, we had this week what's it called? Russia was saying they're going to use the yuan as their settlement currency. So that's big. Like that's a thing. And we are watching the currency be debased. So I wonder, like, we see a $1 million Bitcoin price. Like, is that good? Or does that just mean that the dollar is worthless? Like, which one is it?
Well, there's this guy. He had this whole theory behind Bitcoin being like a life raft, and so Bitcoin could be a means of aggregating like capital that's trying to get away from devaluation in times of crisis. Like that's what Bitcoin could be used for, as like a life raft. And so you might not keep your savings permanently in Bitcoin, but in times of crisis, you might just move all of your fiat or whatever coins you may have or whatever value you may have back into Bitcoin. I could see that happening. Like we haven't seen a economic crash in the once the metaverse is established as a whole, we'll see these economic cycles playing out again in real time across the metaverse. People will be scrambling to sell their parcels for some reason, and I think they'll be moving into Bitcoin as a safe haven. I think that'll become like the internet's version of like gold. Like when bad times are coming around the corner, you'll see people moving back into Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin at $1 million. What do you think that means for coins like Matic and Ethereum? Do you think they follow that pump, or is it just going to be like alt season? Is it going to happen, or like we're just speculating? But usually when Bitcoin pumps, everything else pumps like after the fact. It's first Bitcoin, and then other things follow as people take profits. Do we think that happens?
I think that's going to happen. Absolutely. I mean, you have that much liquidity coming into the markets, and it's going to be this type of liquidity that where they won't just buy Bitcoin. They'll diversify across a whole bunch of risk assets, from low risk to the highest risk. And so they might buy everything between Bitcoin all the way to, like your shit coins, all the way to like some metaverse assets. Like that might even be part of this basket. Like Fidelity, for example, they just started I believe it was a $14 billion fund for like crypto investing, essentially. And so yeah, this is another chart of the Fed, from the Fed actually. This is their asset and the liquidity and credit facilities. So the loans essentially that the Fed's been taking on have gone through the roof. Like even the QE that they've done over the last 3 years, the quantitative tightening, the rising of interest rates, even all that work that they've done to try and write their course, they've essentially undone that in like the last 2 weeks, which is crazy. So yeah, I mean, there's a good reason to move your money away from the system. especially your long-term savings, I think.
Yeah, that chart, man, it just brings me. Just brings me back. I remember that, like, literally left Morgan Stanley at the beginning of that, was like, oh, this whole shit is garbage. And I say that because I just got my ticket for NFT NYC, but I had Hernani order it for me. And apparently you need a LinkedIn profile. And I was like, I don't have a LinkedIn profile. And then I realized, oh shit, I do. And then I went back in time. It literally went back in time, and I found this. I'll show it to you. It's in 2011. So at the end of that curve that we're seeing on the first crazy bump, it's from my old boss. Let me show that. Sean Moran, this guy I worked at Morgan Stanley. And, it's from 2011. So I was like, oh crap, man. Like, that takes me fucking back. Like, just how crazy it was. But at that time, people were talking about Bitcoin, but it was just completely off my radar. I didn't see it as a thing. I was like trying to get away from capitalism in general. I was a hippie. I had long hair and was playing music in bands and shit. So it was just like totally missed the boat on that one. But it was good to, just like, oh shit, I forgot that I lived that life at one point, being a tax, an international tax accountant in that era. So it was like, oof.
Oh man, so you were living right back here. If I can just quickly show this chart I have up here, you're right back up in here back when all this happened in 2008.
Yeah, so I left at the beginning of 2008. And then he wrote the review in 2011. This is like when I set up LinkedIn. So that's like near the end of that
Wow,
crazy spike. Yeah.
that's crazy. I mean, he had to live through all that, and then after that, you still got a review at the end of that. Like,
Yeah.
that guy was still around. He was a survivor.
Well, he's good because he's he actually he inspires me so much. He was, he worked at Morgan Stanley. He was my manager. He left Morgan Stanley to go work for Ernst and Young, but he ended up moving to Washington, D.C. Now, he took this job to audit the Redskins, and he was a fan of the Redskins. He was a season ticket holder. So it was like the dream job for him. And then he went down to, while he was down there, he started some businesses. He's like super Christian. So he's like, positivity, and gives financial and life advice. So he did really well. But it's like, I just remember that 3-year period was like right before my son was born. And like right after I left Morgan Stanley was just a hedonistic ass period for me. So it's like, I don't remember any, like, I literally became a dog walker. I moved into a room. Like, I had an apartment that I shared with my sister, and I, was taking care of her kids. I ended up leaving. She moved somewhere else. I got a room in the Bronx where I was paying $110 a week for this little 10 by 10 room. I had like just basically a bed, no closet, with a little backyard. And I lived like that for 3 years. And it's like, it was perfect for me. I didn't care what the fuck was happening in the real world. Like, oh, debase the dollar. Who cares? I want the government to fall. So it's just like, wow, like compared to where I was and where I am now, it makes perfect sense that I'm into, crypto and this blockchain stuff, because it is like the libertarian's dream, the idea of currency not being controlled by any one power, by any one government. Because if you control money, you control everything. So
yeah, totally. I mean, this ties in with the recent podcast I was listening to on nihilism, the rise of nihilism towards the traditional systems that have existed for sometimes hundreds of years. There seems to have been, over the last 2 decades, a rise in, especially amongst our generation and the younger generations, of nihilism towards just bullshit, of just nihilism towards the old ways of doing things. And to people who are in power and have profited off traditional models for a long time, that's an incredibly scary thing for people to realize from their perspective. And so I think this collapse is part and due to what I call, well, not what I call, but what I've read is this this turning of a new era to something completely different. We've seen it before with the Industrial Revolution, with the movement from, small farming communities into big cities. These sorts of movements we've seen. And I think what we'll see now is people going from the physical to the metaphysicals, people spending more of their time in ethereal space that doesn't really physically exist. So like basically the metaverse, but all forms of that. AR, VR, your web-based browser. I think we're about to moon in that aspect.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I don't know, man. Like, there's always, like, real life always will carry some kind of premium just because it's an experience that you can't get in a metaverse. Like, I'm very bullish on metaverses, but it's so dystopian if you think about it. If we're thinking about the hell yeah, ghost ship. You're thinking about the like just how dystopian it all is. We're all locked into. We're like 2 steps away from being in the Matrix. Like the machines run everything. We're just kind of in the background, power supply of some sort, and we're doing our thing. Where it's like, go outside and like smell some air and swat a fly or something. It's just a different, the simulation isn't that good yet. We'll get there. Like, there's that whole group of people who think this is a simulation right now, like our existence itself. So it's like, I guess it's perception is just a chemical reaction in your brain, right?
What you see, it chemical reactions all the way down?
Yeah,
is it simulations all the way down?
Yeah, so it's like, oh shit.
Could be. So as above, so below, right? Yeah. I mean, it's these things are more or less the same, big or small, in my opinion. Yeah. But look at this fat boner of a chart. Look at this. This is just starting. We're just starting to see the start of this, and I mean, it dwarfs. And not to like say that your experience wasn't significant, but look at this chart. This dwarfs the experiences that people had. The sum of the effect of what this time had in history. What we've experienced in the last 2 weeks with what the banks have been doing, it dwarfs that already, and it's just getting started. So this could be, I don't know, this could be like the last dying breaths of a US dollar, maybe, especially with what we saw last week, that news with China and Russia, now becoming part of BRICS officially, that whole movement of them backing their own petrodollar, essentially, backed by other things, the yuan with gold and whatnot, but to have a harder form of money, essentially, to challenge the Western currency. This could be a strong reason to remove any wealth that you've accumulated in the traditional banking system now before it's too late, in my opinion.
I'm lucky I don't have any wealth. So, I mean, my wealth is in Avagachis and NFTs that nobody cares about. So it's like, come for it. Take the fucking whole system down. I'm in the same position as I was at this point. It was 16 years ago almost. I'm in the same position. Poverty, like the poor are always poor. Some of us get out of it, but for the most part, we stay poor. So if the whole shit falls, it doesn't really change anything for me. I'm still going to be scrapping and hustling, and it gives me, that shakeup gives me a better chance to move up in the, I guess the ladder. So it's like, yeah, you're going to take the $30 I have in my bank, go for it. Fuck it, just leave my gotchas.
And it's funny because the ones who actually benefit in the situation, there's one group that does somewhat benefit, as those that have debt. Anybody that has debt, because while dollars get devalued, the worth of your debt also simultaneously gets devalued to almost nothing. That does happen, and you will see a lot of that. You will see a lot of defaults across the board, but you also see a lot of like debt forgiveness. That's what happened in 2008. There was a lot of debt forgiveness that happened, especially towards businesses, especially towards large businesses that society somewhat needed. Maybe some could argue didn't need it all, but at the time, that's how people looked at it.
Well, it's also in the US, it's different. I don't know how it is in Canada, but like you literally get a reset. Like if you default on all your debt, like businesses have to do this after a certain amount of time that your money is not been collected, that you're in default, they have to start writing it down because the likelihood of you paying it back drops significantly. After 90 days, it drops. Like you're supposed to write it down. So what ends up happening is these businesses then sell your debt to other people who try to collect it for pennies on the dollar because that turns them a profit. But they too are another business that they're gonna eventually have to write this debt down, and it just goes away. Like I'm being like when I left Morgan Stanley, I took on a whole bunch of debt for my dead mama. She was alive at that point, and I just defaulted on it. I was like, I'm not doing anything with this. And literally, I just assumed that I was fucked, and I just ignored it for years. And then one year, I came back and I was like, "Let me try fixing my credit." I applied for a secure credit card, and that I basically started with nothing. They gave me my score was 400 with a secure credit card. Within 6 months, I was able to get back into the 600s. And then as long as you make your payments and just handle your shit, your credit score will go back up. But it literally, like within 7 years, just kind of wipes. I didn't file for bankruptcy. I didn't do anything. It literally just wiped. So it's like, if you have, a decade on your hands and you feel like, I mean, it's harder to find places to live. Some people will, it affects your job, stuff like that. If you can work around it, most poor people can. It's like, whatever, like just let it reset. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's not financial advice at all, but that's what I'm saying. Like in the US, it's different because your debt, it literally gets written down because it's not collectible.
And some of the wealthiest, people and biggest businesses in the United States use this to their advantage. They do the exact same thing as what you're describing, No Future, but they do it on a much larger scale, and they still get away with it. So does seem to be, or used to be at least, like a lot of leniency within the financial system for that sort of thing. But that's what happens when you inflate everything. You inflate debt.
Well, it's also a function of our society. Like, I'm speaking of the U.S., right? We broke away from, the old system, which was indentured servitude. Like, your ass is going to jail if you don't pay your debts, or you're going to, work for somebody. There's like, we don't do that anymore. Now it's just like,
yeah,
we're going to give you a hard time for 5 or 6 years and then just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. There's a will, there's a way. So like a reset, the problem then becomes, though, like, I mean, the reset is dangerous, I think, for the middle and for the upper class. People who are at the bottom, who are already scraping by, like, to get, to hustle and make money. It's not, it affects us in a large way, but, you've always been hustling and surviving. So it's nothing really new, where like, for, people with bags, essentially, it's dangerous, because if your bag becomes nothing and now you're down here with us, you haven't been practicing for 30 years how to be poor, it's a different experience. So
I agree with that.
It's that's why I'm nihilistic. I go by no future. There are reasons for this. And like, I mean, my position has changed a little because I have a child now. When I was at Morgan Stanley, I was like, I don't want kids. Things change, as they do. So I don't want shit to fall apart because it will affect him. But me as a individual, I'm like, yes, like I want it. Like when we, like, during the January 6th riot, like that was like a fever dream. I didn't want to see something bad happen, but there's this part of me that's like, oh, we're gonna watch a society collapse. Like, how often do we get to do that from my first person point of view? It's just the people who who are around at the beginning tend not to be around at the end. That's the big danger. Like, the revolutionaries who start the war, they usually don't make it to the end of it. They don't see the freedom that they seek. But that's, it's just an interesting perspective to be able to watch. Like if you were in South America, in the 60s, certain countries, 70s, 80s, if you're like even in the Middle East during the early 2000s, you watch regime changes, currency debasement at crazy levels. In the US, we've been good, like Canada as well. We've had a cushy little existence here. I don't think, if you haven't moved here from a third world country, even being poor in our countries isn't that bad compared to being third world poor. So it's like, think about all those people. Like if our whole banking system collapsed, does it affect, Aborigines in, Australia? No, right? They're not gonna, people who live in
but
Africa,
they're also
tribes.
they're also self-sovereign in the way that they can actually, a lot of them know how to get their own food, and they know, like, they have food sovereignty. Like they don't rely on the government to feed themselves, which is an essential, like, human component to, like, survive. And so most of us, we actually rely to some degree on everyday operations for that. And so actually that's one thing where I'm working on, is like building out my food sovereignty and not relying on the government for food as much. We just moved to a slightly bigger place, and it actually has some backyard space. And so we're going to be growing a whole bunch of shit. I'm planning on documenting it a little bit, so I'll get it up on Twitter, but we're growing a whole bunch of vegetables this year. And the goal is to not buy vegetables from the supermarket this year.
Yeah, that's great.
Kind of see how that goes. But
see, if I had the room, I'd be interested in that. I don't know if what I can grow in my climate. Zombie Shepheard's a pro at this. He's talked about climate-based growing stuff. But I think I would just be one of the guys that's looting the supermarket. That's the easy, low-hanging fruit. Yep. If the rules are no longer in effect, then it's like, oh, that's what we do.
That's probably the first thing to happen.
Or absolutely. I go to your yard and take your vegetables. That's the danger. I think that's why a great reset is so dangerous, it affects certain groups of people. It will be when there's not, people resort to like whatever they have to get their needs met in desperate times. So it's like, those with will, have to constantly be on guard and ready to defend what they have. And it's crazy because like I was reading this tweet today, I think it was today, and it was like a Bitcoin maxi talking about it and talking about how like that chart, if you could show it again, of the debasement, the printing of money of the US dollar. And it's been across the world pretty much in Western civilization. It was the one before this, I believe. That one, yeah, like you're watching that happen. You're watching your bag bleed out. And a lot of people are saying that this is like, we're going through this debasement because those bailouts really helped the rich, like in 2008, like the banks, stuff like that. And, by debasing it, like you were talking about with debt, it also lowers the value of this debt. It's the US government's doing this because they owe trillions of dollars. And the only way to not die from interest rates, the interest you have to pay on this debt is to slowly debase your money. But the thing is, we attack and get angry at China for doing this monetary control and manipulation, because it has real world effects. Like I spent $13 yesterday for a pack of 3 chicken breasts. That's insane. Like,
but here's the thing. You were talking about, poverty, and I totally agree with your ideas on, well, not your ideas, but they're actually real legitimate things that happen when you don't have a lot of money, and how these collapses really affect the little guy, the littlest of little guys. It actually doesn't affect them as much, because these are probably some of the most resilient individuals in our society. Also, they know how to do a lot with the little. They figured that out. A lot of them had no choice in figuring that out. It was a way of life. You had to figure that out. And so my worry, though, is when times get a little bit hard, or a lot harder for everybody across the board, when they implement the CBDCs, they'll try and implement it on that population first, because they are the least likely to have a choice to really back out of it, especially if there's some really good incentives built in. Hey, we're going to relieve all your debt, and the CBDC is like kind of like a UBI. Maybe you subscribe to it and get 300 USD a month automatically in your account. Who that has been going through pain and suffering through their whole life is not going to say no to that. They'll buy into that, and they'll probably even defend their right to have that. But my worry is that exact CBDC that they sign up for is going to be the very thing that takes away even more of their rights and freedoms over, the course of decades, probably.
Yeah, think about it. The amount of the population, we talk about the 1%, that means there's 99% on the other side of that equation, right? It's just the cheaper bribe. They're the easiest, cheapest bribe. Mm-hmm. You just hit them off with a little sauce. Like, I mean, if I was in debt, and I would have no problem just taking the easy out. And it's like, because once again, like there are rights that you would be losing, but there's always options. Innovation and like ingenuity don't get stopped, So we make rules. Like my mother was super, like in my neighborhood when I was growing up, if you got food stamps, when you got food stamps for food, you're supposed to spend that on food. You can't go to the store and buy liquor. You can't buy alcohol. You can't buy drugs. Some people will take food stamps for drugs, but this plays into this story. So there are businesses that, in my community, what they would do is they would take the food stamp. If you had a $10 food stamp, they give you $7 back. So they charge like a 30% fee, but they allowed that to become real money. Like, I mean, this is different because we're talking digital money, but people did this. My mother would send me to the store to go and get, swap $10 for $7, because with that $7, she can go and gamble. So like for me, my hustle then became, instead of going to the store and buying, swapping and losing $3, I go to the store and I buy a snack for myself. That's 15, 20 cents. And I'm taking my little piece, but I can still bring back $7 because then I can, they're giving me change. They're giving me like smaller bills. It would be a lot of change, but you can go and swap it. There's always like a little hustle. Somebody's going to figure out a way to get past it. Bartering, some other sort. But it is scary.
See, that's my worry though, because with the CBDC, taking the exact example you just provided with this food stamp, let's say the first implementation of a CBDC is actually not in fact a currency, but just for a food stamp. I think it's a use case for a food stamp. But now, what if this food stamp was also tied to certain aspects of social media, certain aspects that might influence your behavior? And so what if there's something being implemented where you disagree with what the government's doing and you decide to protest? So you say, you decide to go out in a group and you were found somehow protesting in this group, and your food stamps were automatically denied. They became invalid. Now that becomes a human rights issue, because this very thing that was supposed to be purely to provide you with sustenance so you can keep going on a day-to-day basis is now being used to control the way you should act and feel. That's where I think there's a little bit more invasiveness with the CBDC approach compared to, the traditional ways we've been doing with real money.
Well, I'd say like the thing though with that, like the protesting thing, they already do that. It's called put you in jail, like where you can't make money anymore. Trumped up charges. You go like this happens to protesters all the time. We're already in that era where they can track your cell phone. They can ping, like depending on like if you're at a certain place protesting, their cell phone towers, they can tell which numbers are there because they're pinging off the towers. And then from there they can, it's it's not a large jump. Doing it with money is like an evolution, but these means already exist. Like we don't, we're not going to freeze your money. We're going to throw your ass in jail. We're going to, not let you get a fair trial for a while. Now you have a record and now you can't get a job. These things already exist. That's why it's like, it concerns me. But like I said, at the very low level, it's like these ways to fuck us are already there. So it's like, this is just a new, we're going digital, huh? We're going to fuck us going digital. All right. Yeah. That's the evolution. If, every hustle has to grow up, right?
Yeah, I know. I hear that. I think there's some nefarious agendas behind some of the late stages of the implementation of any sort of CBDC.
Well, let me ask. I mean, other than China, what other countries have a CBDC? Does India have one? I thought India was pretty anti-crypto. I know China.
So India has something called UTC, I think. It is some sort of a CBDC-based alternative, but it is a little bit more free, like you say. Nigeria, for instance, Nigeria has one apparently.
Yeah, because that was not working out very well. Their banks were collapsing. People were like freaking the hell out.
Yeah, and then Canada and the United States have just finished a 12-week pilot program. I think we discussed it a little bit a couple weeks ago. So you guys are going to have Fed Now, which is going to be a borrowing system that probably gets implemented shortly after all this banking collapse blows over. It'll be a Fed Now borrowing system where I believe it's only for large banks and large institutions will be able to borrow directly from the Fed. And so their reserves will no longer need to be held through some auction for bonds and all that. They're going to skip all of that. The whole process, the whole exchange will just get removed, and they're just going to say Fed Now, and they're going to get their reserves met through the Fed, who will print off that money, and they will send it over, and it'll be all good in their books. And so really, there's no cap to how much this money can be debased. And the more they debase it, the more the value of their debts goes down, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And so, ideally, this over time, in their eyes, is just going to screw the little guy, but also get rid of their large debt that they've accumulated over the last few decades.
Yeah, I wonder if this leads to military conflict. Because, I mean,
oh, yeah,
it has to. I feel like
it has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's horrible. See, that's where
it is.
Like the nihilist in me is like, yeah. Then the reasonable father's like, oh crap, this is it might take some time, but like my kid could be old enough to be called in, to be drafted. That sucks.
It might get personal.
Yep, we're going to Canada. I have no problem breaking laws to protect my family.
Yeah, I don't know if Canada's any better. If I'm gonna be honest, I'd say probably down south is probably where people would want to go.
Yeah.
But
he knows Spanish, so we can go to Mexico. He is Mexican,
well,
so
there you go.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, man. So I mean,
Happy Friday, everybody.
Let's get everybody out of the darkness. We'll lift everybody back up here. There's gonna be a short period of time where things get weird, but you know what? Ultimately, I think we have a bright future ahead of us, and that's why we're all here. So, speaking of which, Aavegotchi on CNBC. I don't know if this is legit or not. You guys can tell me if this is the real site here, but Aavegotchi was on CNBC. Is this the CNBC website? Is anybody familiar with this? I'm not a CNBC guy, so I just ran across this article this week. I think this is the CNBC TV website. Am I wrong?
I'm going to check now. I'm going to open this. Too many windows. Am I about to get fished? Is this what's happening? We're going to copy the link. We'll do it. I'm taking Zombie Shepheard's advice, and I'm doing it in the browser that has no crypto associations.
Well, as long as you don't download anything,
this is
you're
TV18.
good.
So what this is probably an affiliate, like in some weird, like where is this at?
It's like a sub DAO. It's like a sub DAO of CNBC.
I don't know.
TV.
Look at the like if you look at below the by CNBC18.com, it says for me undefined nan invalid date. Like, ugh.
Okay, but if you can see my screen here, I mean, just look at my screen here. What I have. They're talking about Aavegotchi. Aavegotchi is a PDE platform, and then they're talking about the $30 million unlock from the bonding curve as a token sale. And so, yeah, that's really cool. It's interesting to see the news making its way out into these more, in our opinions, like obscure. You'd never see this sort of an article at some sort of a mainstream site like this. And so, yeah, this is kind of cool to see this. And I wonder if this is the start of this sort of news starting to reach the normies about Aavegotchi. I know I have my gym trainer. She was asking me all about Aavegotchi. I was gotchi pilling her today, actually, because she saw the little pins I have on my satchel, a little Aavegotchi pins. She was asking me what it's all about. I was telling her a little bit about what we did at Eat Denver and the DAO, and she was kind of buying into it, man. She thought the Aavegotchis were cool. The sweaters kind of looked really cool. So, we definitely got some buy-in here. People are really liking Aavegotchi design. They're liking the Aavegotchi branding, and I think this is going to transcend. This is going to transcend beyond Web3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to say though, special shout out to Nigel, because this is a direct result of his work. Like this is marketing. This is essentially marketing to be able to get this on the radar of news organizations so that they open it up to their large viewership. That's a marketing effort. So it's like, we got a marketing person in, and there's more of an effort. You see it from Aavegotchi, more of a marketing effort now, and it's working. So it's like people have like called for this, and it's been, it's been slow, but it's good to see it actually happening, because this is what happens when done well.
Yeah, I've definitely felt a tangible change in the way we've approached our marketing strategy, and it's working, like you said. So yeah, that's great mention with Nigel. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. I'll be honest, like Aavegotchi doesn't really comment a lot on my personal stuff. It'll retweet stuff from me personally, but it doesn't comment a lot. It'll like it and retweet, but not really comment. On Orium stuff, they've been commenting back. So it's like I've been running Orium, and I'm like, yes, I'm finally getting some attention from them. And it's weird because I know who's running it. And, but still, like, I don't know why that's an accomplishment to me.
It's an accomplishment, man. It's interaction with like the OG account. That is the OG Aavegotchi account. So,
yeah. And that's how you grow on Twitter. You got to just be a reply guy. Yeah. Aavegotchi's become a reply guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll ask you, with this $30 million unlock, you as a DAO director have had to make some big moves with this treasury. Has all of that been done now? Like transaction wise, have all the transactions been kind of worked out?
For the Ghost acquisition, that's been worked out. I'm trying to think what is left, really. I think we have to make some other treasury moves. Like there's I don't want to misstate, I don't even want to answer any of these.
You don't
questions.
Want to misspeak about it.
Yeah, because I tried being helpful at 1 a.m. when I was sleepy, and I just got high, and I don't want to misstate something and people freak the hell out. Like,
yeah, we don't want to dig into that.
The Ghost acquisition is going well. We have we've been trying to be very careful about everything. So I'm gonna, for once in my life, practice that same conservative behavior and say I probably shouldn't comment.
Yeah, no, fair enough, man.
Yeah, I don't need bearded up my ass. Sorry.
No, you guys are doing good work there. That's a different hat. That's a different hat that you wear. That's like when I do the Sunday DAO meetings. That's a different hat that I wear. That's not me every day. That's a persona that has to represent that instance, and then I move on. You know,
as we talk about CNBC covering us, and I misstate something. Like I did a interview.
Yeah,
I think it was for CoinDesk. couple directors, and the guy asked a billion questions about Aavegotchi, but I kept like telling him, I was like, for these certain subjects, I'm not the expert. I can tell you what I think, but I don't know if this is actually the facts. So like, I should probably not answer this question. I kept telling that over and over again. The stuff I know, I'll, answer to, but with this stuff, I don't want to misstate something and screw the project.
No, absolutely. Yeah. That makes sense. We're talking millions here. We're not talking about.
We set up a DAO to buy pizza weekly. It's we're calling it the PZA reacquisition. We were calling it a buyback, but we decided not to because of security laws and whatnot. But now the DAO is buying pizza every week. That's my answer, and it's not serious at all.
Pizza DAO already exists, man.
This is the pizza ghost.
We've been front ran on that on the pizza front.
Oh man, see, someone's always innovating. You gotta get there a little bit earlier.
Well, I mean, you thought of, Dick DAO. We just talked about Pizza DAO. And, another DAO that I've thought of recently is Grocery DAO. It's a grocery DAO. You vote on a list of groceries. It's a grocery list. You got to vote on it and, suggest people would write proposals. I think 10 onions need to be on the list. And you would submit your proposal through Snapshot. You get approve it. At the end of the week, whatever groceries are on the grocery EIP proposal, y'all have to go buy that shit. You got to go buy. That's your grocery list for the week. It was constructed in a decentralized, democratized way. We can have hookups with sponsorships. We can say, hey, Kroger, you got to sponsor us, man. We're voting on a grocery list this week. We might want to put your hams on there. Write up a proposal.
Oh, it gets political. Now we got lobbying from Kroger, and Aldi's like, we'll give you a cheaper deal. The only issue is you would have to be able to enforce this, right? So what you have to do is make an escrow account where the people that participate in the DAO have to put the money in that they would spend on groceries. And then what's with the deal, a blockchain transaction happens to whatever supermarket's the sponsor, and automatically that food is purchased and shipped. So if everybody wants to eat nothing but onions that week, you're getting 10 pounds of onions. That's what your money's at. That's the way it has to be done. Because otherwise people can be like, I'm not going to follow through. Fuck that. You signed up for this. You got to
absolutely. You got to follow through. You got 20 hams coming at you this week, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the first couple proposals, you probably have to figure out the parameters. Like how much does the average person spend a week in groceries? Just so people actually buy into it. But
see, I have an idea that just kind of popped in. We should have like a cookbook or a chef DAO, right? So it's a DAO full of chefs. And then basically they vote on recipes that would be going into a book that the DAO publishes and owns.
Dang, that's pretty fucking cool, dude. Yeah. That is a great idea.
Someone's probably already made it.
Probably.
Yeah, that would be like, I haven't thought of Dick DAO in so long. I told my girlfriend about it and she's totally on board.
We need to revive that idea. I think it's the right time.
And then I'll address the DAO, the Aavegotchi DAO as the leader of Dick DAO, the decentralized leader of Dick DAO. Yeah, Troy, I agree. The Aavegotchi IP is very marketable. Like,
yeah,
choking on my candy. But I was out today. I was on a call because we're doing some planning for stuff for consensus, and I'm going to be on Sunday presenting to the DAO about it, media coverage. So I was on calls with that. I'm wearing my Aavegotchi hat with my Aavegotchi New York shirt with my laptop that's covered in Aavegotchis. And I'm just like, and I put in this place, both bathrooms have my stickers in it. We have a Terrace McKenna in one and an Aavegotchi sticker in the other. So it's like every time these people, in every situation, almost every day that I go to this breakfast spot, they're constantly being bombarded with Aavegotchi. I'm on the phone talking to people. The words just flow out of my mouth constantly, Aavegotchi. Or like yesterday, I was in a Twitter space with Dr. Wagme and Goobs, and I'm explaining Aavegotchis, in a cafe out loud, and this place isn't packed, but it's the same people because it's like, it's Nashville. It's not like New York City where it's going to be constantly new people. So it's like, I'm slowly gotchi pilling them in the most subliminal way. And, it's, if you look at the stickers, like I found one of the goodie bags in my luggage the other day. And I was like, oh crap, man, I have all the stickers now. I was missing one of them from Eat Denver, but they just look great. It's
awesome.
Very marketable, very cutesy kind of IP.
So flexible. I mean, can you imagine those stickers were designed by 5 completely different people and each one has its own flavor, but you could look at each one and know it's a Navagachi. That's a really powerful brand, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, and I would love us to be, because you've talked about this with fake gotchis for yourself specifically, the idea of making historically relevant fake gotchi cards, like based around blockchain events. So like today we were in the Discord talking about some social media efforts, and it was like, I would have loved somebody to come out with a meme today of like a gotchi named Terra slapping the shit out of Do Kwon. That would have been perfect. Like that literally sums it up. We talk about gotchis being memic. So it's like, oh man, we just missed something. I mean, it's still early. We could probably do it, but it's like, oh, I want to, as soon as that news drops, somebody should be making that meme, because that's how we win. Like I think on social media.
Oh, totally. I mean, I always thought of like the Indians and the Giants kind of thing, where you like Do Kwon on the ground, all like tied up, and you have a bunch of gotchis with little ropes, like tying him down, like we finally got you. You know, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, seize the memes of productions. Yes, like Piglet, but yeah, Absolutely. They're a little bit too nice. But they're PvP battle. You know, they're battle gotchis. We're gonna be killing each other soon. Yeah, and hopefully, I haven't confirmed it, but Hardcore might be coming on later in the show to have a discussion with us. We're going to talk a little bit about arena strategies. If not this week, maybe next week.
Hell yeah. I'd love to hear that. We've been spending a little time in the arena this morning, last night, and I really need to get into the stats more. I'm starting to take more interest in my gotchis, equipping them. Dude, all the shit that we talked about for a year on every Sunday, almost every Sunday for a year, was all about the arena. It was about the wearables, the effects, you know, how the gotchi would behave with different traits. We've spent hours like talking about this and just theorizing about it. Now it's finally time to actually dig into some of this stuff and figure it out. But yeah, I mean, we need somebody to like model some of this stuff and make it a little easier for someone to know the difference between one wearable and another wearable, just at first glance.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday on the Twitter space hosted by Goobs and Dr. Wagme. The idea of just making it easier to onboard people. Like it'd be great, like if in the UI we have a thing built in, like a dressing room, right, into the Aavegotchi UI, so you don't have to go to a third-party source. Ideally, it is open source and it's a Gotchi Gangs, like, you know, Gotchi dress room or a Gotchi Dash. I think that's the one by Diddley. Having that built into the UI, but part of that feature is like when you look at your gotchi, depending on how it's dressed, you can see how that will affect its arena stats and what kind of, like, in a visualization of how it will fight. And then also like, oh, this will affect your rarity farming, so this would move you up from, say, this position up to this next position. So like just getting all that information kind of in a real easy to digest visual manner all in one spot is going to be key, because once we do that, I mean, this really just like you're pouring gas on the fire.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I'm getting my popcorn. It's just throw that down there with the rest of the crap. All right, cool.
Just real quick before we move on here into our next segment, we'll be doing some curating in a little bit. We got this tweet here. Jason, or Lost Local himself, at GDC collected a Polygon board game. What do you think this means? What's your first take on this? A Polygon board game.
That Ben Lagan has been lying to us, and he's already sold the game to Polygon. Stratagotchi.
My thoughts too. Yeah. We need Stratagotchi made as a board game. I think there was some initial discussion on that, but yeah, definitely need to get that into production.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a shout out to Lost Local, because he's doing a crazy job of his networking and, you know, the in real life aspect of his job. Also, you know, check out that merch. It's amazing. I see more people in the Discord like showing images of them ordering the merch from the store. So I think all of that stuff is still available if you're interested. But yeah, like it's I mean, I keep saying this about 2023, that it's like the in real life aspect of all the stuff that we do is starting to become a bigger thing. So, I mean, Polygon gets it, like that idea of this retro, like all of the, like their whole booth in GDC is this very retro-y vibe, throwback to the 80s. kind of thing, but it's there in real life. They could have set up a metaverse, like, in 2 years ago, that's what it would have been. It would have been a conference in a metaverse, and they have all those cool assets in there versus actually having them there. So I think they're starting to bridge that gap where blockchain and what we're doing here, like a good example, Starbucks, right? That's a blockchain thing on Polygon, but you're doing it in the real world. You're going into a store, getting a coffee and getting points or whatever. Like, I think that those in real life activations so that we feel blockchain, not just it's not conceptual anymore, is going to be huge. And, that their efforts at GDC and those, like, I would love to see a Polygon board game. That would be dope as hell. Or some like retro, movies, like, I don't know. I have to learn more about like their lore. I don't know if there's lore, right, to Polygon. Is there anything like a story that you can base it in?
I'd imagine it's all blockchain based. Like maybe it's partially educational. You're learning about ZK and supernets and all this stuff while you're playing the board game. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah. A Dungeons and Dragons version of like getting onto the ZK EVM.
Dude, can you get any nerdier than that? I don't know, man. That's like, that's up there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to say when I went in today after my workout to the breakfast spot I go to, they have like a partition up on one part of before they had like clear glass or like plexiglass covering the whole bar where they serve their drinks and food. Because of COVID, they've taken it all down except for one piece. And I don't even know, I guess that one piece is there because it has the menus up on it. But I noticed today that one of the workers is a nerd because they had at the top of the glass, a Pokemon card was taped to it. And I was like, hell yeah. All right. We're in the right places. I should be getting breakfast here every day. Yeah.
Totally. That's the crowd we need, man. We need like the Minecraft players and all the World of Warcraft players and old school RuneScape players and all the really strategic games out there. We need those players coming in here because I think not only will they be just great players to have around, they're going to have some genuine feedback in terms of strategy. Like we can have some really interesting brainstorming conversations with people like that. We have a couple of them already, like Mikey J comes to mind, Dr. Wagme. Those are guys that put a lot of time into tokenomics and thinking about the game. But I'm talking about like the degen gamer that is like a Dr. Wagme, except he's just like a total, just a total degenerate gamer guy. I don't know, the type that I'm describing is like your Fortnite player, but they can actually talk strategy and just be another eccentric like personality. Like we need more of those people to come into Aavegotchi, because I think the time of when we joined at the time with Aavegotchi, it was a little bit different. Like the vibe just feels different now. But I think it's going to get better because we're going to see, we'll still have the OG crew. We'll still have like the traditional core community. But I think our community is about to grow in a way that maybe we're not anticipating right now. We're going to get all these different types of people coming in that we haven't actually had in our community before. And I'm interested to see how that impacts the DAO, how that impacts our discussions and input. Ideally, we should be aiming to engage these people and get them more involved, because like as eccentric or as polarizing some opinions might be, it's good to have some of those really opposing, like polarizing opinions on things.
Yeah, I agree. It will be interesting also because we're gonna face this thing where like basically we have like right now we have a very concentrated group of like 100 people who are super active all the time. They're here. They're always doing stuff. And like that's not a lot of people. Like that's 100 people is nothing. If we onboard 10,000 users, that's gonna blow up the active number of voices who are in the DAO, who are like, even if a lot of voting power stays with this group, this very concentrated group of people, it's going to become even more of a, like just disparate voices, like so many different opinions potentially. So I hope that doesn't introduce paralysis to the process, because it can. And I'm just hoping that, everything just remains smooth.
Yeah, I think there'll always be like that core group that gets accused of doing everything wrong, and when things, I don't know, I think things will be contentious, but that's not bad.
Yeah.
In short.
Yeah, I just want to, as long as we still make moves and get stuff done.
Exactly. That's the main thing. Well, QUEratoors, we're here. This is where like a panel flashes across the screen, and there's like a little bit of a
fake.
There'll be a little jingle or something.
Curator. We're not art critics. We're faking it. You know, we play them on TV.
Everything's fake.
Yeah,
everything's fake. Absolutely. Where do you want to start? Do you want to explore? Do you want to start the queue?
Let's look at the queue because I want to see if anything's been added. I feel like
we
there's
haven't
been
looked
a little
in a
bit
while.
of lull. Yeah.
Let's go here. Oh, okay. We got some new
blooms. Hell yeah.
Blooms has published something. Dang, dude. This is cool.
That is epic. I will buy that.
That is cute as fuck. And so there's some alpha here with blooms. I don't think we have him on the show here tonight, but if you are in the room, I'll let you speak to that. Let's see if he's actually in here. No, I don't see blooms in here, but if you're listening on Twitter or if you're listening out there, great job. And I think you did reveal some alpha here. This card right here, these 100 editions will be tied to a community, a sub community that he's going to be creating. So there will be some added utility behind this card as well. And that gachi, super cute, really well done. I think the artist did a great job. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what this extra alpha is behind collecting this card.
Yeah, I mean, Bloom, shout out to Blooms. He's doing some good work. I kind of advised him a little bit on like getting a setup for live streaming, content capture, similar to what we have, basically like a similar version of what we have in ETH Denver, which is like my backup setup, but it works very well. And he's just doing some stuff. Like he's gonna be doing a yacht party for Little Nouns in New York. And I was like, I'll shoot it for you. Like I want to go, but now I'm not sure if I can or if I'm even allowed to because it's a Little Nouns thing. But I have to. I'm gonna be there's gonna be other events and stuff to kind of handle. So I'm hoping it works out because I really want to try to check it out. Like I'm about to buy a Little Noun just to get on that boat.
What's the floor of a Little Noun right now?
I think it was last time I checked like 0.15 ETH or something like that. So we're not talking big money. I'd pay $300 and join a new club to have one dope ass party.
Yeah.
That's the most Web3 thing we could do. But yeah, like why not?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it comes with some other membership stuff too. So
yeah, you're part of an active DAO. Like the Little Nouns DAO actually does stuff. Like they sent him to ETH Denver. So that's encouraging.
That's actually a pretty high bar for a DAO, to be honest. If your DAO can figure out, like, imagine the process we went through, right? We heard Blooms talking about his experience. It sounded very similar, except he was advocating for himself, one guy, compared to we had to advocate for a whole different proposal. But the way the DAO actually received it was almost the same. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so he went through the exact same process that we did. So shout out to I guess Lil Nouns DAO for functioning at that level and being able to actually send some representation out to ETH Denver.
And I just want to chime in because Light Piglet does make a good point. He lives in Denver, so they didn't really send him, but they did give him the money to throw the party, the one that at that smoke shop that me, T-Bird, and Musashi went to. And he had his own. He hired a media team. He was just a one-man team, a local team, I guess. It'll be interesting because they are shipping him out to New York because he's going to have to be there to make this work. To see how that goes. But yeah, he's doing big stuff. And I love seeing people who hustle. Like he's definitely one that he always is making moves and like just on his grind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a fire piece. I'll definitely collect that one.
Let's see here. Topum and Ing Pixels. We collected I didn't we might have GMI might have collected some of these. I can't remember, or at least some GMI members collected some of Ing Pixel's early work, and she's come back with this killer piece, 69 editions, and you see there are a whole bunch of different wearables in here, a ton of different wearables in this like mosaic masterpiece.
Yeah, I like the contrast of it. It's just black and white. There's a lot of like curves and swirls. Like it just looks really. It's aesthetically pleasing.
This is something I would love to get printed out on a large format print and get like a 4x4 foot, a 4x6 foot print and just put that up on my wall, like just as an artistic piece of work. It's amazing.
Yeah, that it's just yeah, all these how are these, because we've looked at two pieces now. Can we go back and see how the voting is going so far? Have they been flagged at all?
Yeah, let's see here. How are we looking here? So Bloom's got 5 likes so far and no flags. And then this one, 8 likes, no flags.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, deserving. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't feel like the flag wars are as active nowadays as they were.
Yeah, a few of them have left since the bear market, I'm sure.
I'm going to show this. Grim, hopefully you could see this now. I've clicked on the altar. It's just been sitting here. This is like, I'm streaming right now, so there is a little bit of like a little bit of an extra use case for my CPU is getting that extra usage. But like your gallery, man, it is intense. I have
Dang,
everything
dude.
turned off, like all animations in the Gotchiverse. And it's like my laptop's not like in New York. I'm worried. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to channel this. There's 2 parcels in particular. I'm like, I don't think I can channel these 2 parcels on my laptop like for 15 straight days. It's gonna be it'll be tough. I'll still make it work. But just like holy crap. I love it though. It's a great looking gallery, but my gallery is like, nope. I mean, like this is a iMac 5K. So this thing bumps like, and it's just like, nope, we're just stuck.
You have a pretty decent machine too, don't you? Like to actually run this game and then to actually get pushed with all these animations. Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, like to be honest, I've never my computer's never had an issue with any other parcel. The only one that there's 2 that I own that give it like some issues, but it's just like a minor lag. And it's my main gallery, Music City Gotcha Gang art gallery, and then my annex, because the annex is a spacious with like 25 or 30 25 or 30 pieces of art, and a little bit like just a little farming. Yeah, this
Okay.
thing's my computer's done. It's like nope. Yeah, if I wasn't streaming, it would have taken like 20 seconds, maybe. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's very fast. I think it's because we're streaming. I'm actually worried that it's gonna crash and you're gonna lose me, but we'll see what happens.
So far, so good. But yeah, streaming does put on a lot of like it does take a lot of bandwidth. I know it does for my machine. My machine's pretty warm right now. Fans are going, but it's not too bad. I'm glad the fans aren't too loud on this machine. The last one I had, the fans were super loud. I wasn't even able to stream because the fans you would hear them in the back. Uh, yeah, this is a lot better. But
Yeah, I actually was talking to my girlfriend about that today because it's like today was the first, like yesterday was kind of warm in Nashville, but today it was like in the 70s. So it was like kind of warm in my house and I was cooking chicken. So it became like she came in and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's warm in here." So I flipped on the AC, but it's like the AC's in the other room and it basically cools down all 3 of the rooms in this house. So I have to have it cranking at like 60 degrees for my studio to get cool. I have a little mini unit that I could put up in this in the window because there's a window in front of me over here that I have blocked out, so that the light doesn't, affect my lighting in here. That one I could put an AC there, but it's just going to wreck my sound. Like when the AC's on over there, you hear it. Like I have to close the door, which defeats the purpose of the AC. So it's like I'm used to it though. Like last year, I did it every day during the summer, and this room's going to be like 90 degrees. So it's just we're getting into tank top season because I don't have a choice.
yeah, see, I'm gonna have to deal with the exact same problem with you, man. Like so this room that I'm in specifically does not have any AC or any sort of like ventilation built in. And so I have an air conditioner. I'm gonna try and plug it in the window in the back there, but it'll be blowing right behind me. And I don't know. It's gonna be pretty loud. And so if it's too loud, I'll probably be in the same situation as you. I'll have to go wear my Avogacci tank top and just rock it. It's the way you gotta do it.
Yeah, just gotta, you'll make it work, or just run the AC before the show and let it run and let it run and let it run, and then hopefully by the time, oh, good, it's let me channel. Okay,
That's what I used to do at the old place. I'd cool it off. I'd get it down to like 18 degrees, and then it just warmed back up over time.
Yeah, it works here for me, but the issue is my AC, like overnight, I can't have it running because after about 2 or 3 hours, it starts spitting out ice. And currently, my bed is in front of that big ass AC. So when it's on, it's great. I like a cold room, but like in the middle of the night, it will literally start chucking ice on top of me while I'm sleeping.
Dude.
Yeah, so it's like a pain in the ass. Okay, I got the channel through.
Okay, I'm gonna put this up here. This is Gotchi on My Mind. So this guy did this track called Gotchi on My Mind, and it's pretty good. I listened to it a couple times. I was pretty impressed. T-Bird tweeted about it. I saw the tweet, checked it out, and I was like, man, this guy, he killed it. This is Awkward AI. Shout out to Awkward. He was the one. Awkward was the same one to also send us the sweet ETH Denver badges that lit up with all the cool different wearables and whatnot. So it was a real treat, and to see his other talent now being expressed here through the fake Gachi, he's amazing. He's a multi-talented individual, and so let's see if we can listen to this. I'm gonna play it, and let's see if it'll actually play through. If you guys will actually be able to hear it, you might not be able to. Or what I could do actually is I got a directional mic, so I could probably just twist it and just play it from my computer.
I can also play it if you need that because I can pump the sound in directly.
Okay, maybe that might be the solution.
Give it a shot first, see if it works.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's really low. I'll go to it now. Fake got cheese. All right, here we go. World premiere. Just get the sound up.
Oh, can you show the fake Gachi animation too?
Like a nice simple baseline. That was dope.
That was amazing, dude. I think he killed it.
Yeah. I love the animations. They were just, that was awesome. Like, whole music video. I think that's the first one. I mean, we've seen Zombie. He's created some music video stuff, but not as a fake gotcha yet. So that definitely like it's funny because I actually told my I was talking about this with my girl yesterday. I was like, there hasn't been any lyrical music fake gotcha art yet. There's been like instrumental stuff, but nothing with lyrics. There we go.
This was really well done. I think overall the animations, like I said, Awkward is a multi-talented individual. I'd love to know more about, like, I think he put himself in as the artist, so he must have created this. So if he did the animation and the music and the vocals, and he knows how to create physical items like badges, like this man, he's a big-brained individual.
Yeah, that's a lot of time on your on your hands if you're doing this shit. Because just the animations alone would have been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's amazing. 338, man. That's the 338th. What's it called? That is a masterwork. Yes, Mike Halliam. 338th fake gotcha card burned and added to the queue. That's kind of crazy to think about.
Dang, dude.
All right.
338 cards out of 2535.
A lot. Oh, wait, I gotta walk. Gotta get this.
It will take some time to get through it all. I think we'll still be a couple years out for complete distribution, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna take a little time there. But we're patient. We'll see the art do what it does.
Absolutely. Well, we got a little bit of time here. Actually, yeah, let's go back and look at some more fake gotcha.
Yeah, because there's not that many new fake gotcha pieces, so we should have some time to talk about some other stuff.
There are a couple more, actually. Maybe we should just look at these ones real quick. We got Gotcha Heroicas, but this is by Gotcha Heroes. So Gotcha Heroes actually created a game. They have a game coming out pretty soon. I'm kind of curious to know what the game's going to be like. Gotcha Heroes. We'll see.
I own
see what's up.
50 of the packs from their game or whatever they are, and I haven't opened any of them or played the game whatsoever. What like not even a little. I've opened I think 4 or 5 of them, and they actually messaged me. They're like, we know you own all this stuff, and we actually when it was live, you're like, jump in and play. I'm like, I don't have time. I'm so busy. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll just own the assets and hope it turns out well.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot about their game development or rollout or any of that. And, if that individual is listening to this, I'd love to know more about Gotcha Heroes, what it's all about, how Gotcha Gang can get involved. But this piece, it's interesting. I love the portal in the top. You got liquidators going. It's cool.
Yeah, so that other one, the liquidators, that's new.
This one, Spark of Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the godlike Bushido Gotchi and the godlike Raffle in the back. So this is kind of building off Bin Laden's lore, right? Because Bin Laden has been going with this series of like the Gotchi, the godlike Raffle, and the Bushido Gotchi adventure. And so this is kind of like almost like, I don't want to call it derivative because it's different. It's completely different. Like the artwork's completely different, but it is kind of playing off that story, saying the Bushido Gotchi and the godlike Raffle are here to fight as a force against these liquidators.
Yeah, I dig it. Can you take it full screen?
Yep.
I like it. It fits the traditional look of the liquidators that we've seen in work that has been released by Pixelcraft previously. Just so I like the aesthetic.
Yeah, it almost looks kind of like hand drawn. You can see the background there.
Yeah. How's this one doing in the queue? Is it hasn't been rejected or anything, right?
Let's see what it's
flagged.
happening.
No flaggings.
No, past the queue. These both have passed the queue. Gotcha on my mind is 16 hours till mint. So,
how many editions for Gotcha on my mind?
88.
Nice.
88. Is that a callback to like Back to the Future?
I don't know. I mean, I could see it like, look at it felt like a Beastie Boys kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like slightly out of sync rap. the whole video has this retro vibe. Look at that gachi. That looks, like retro as hell.
Totally. With the chain and everything.
Yeah. Kind of looks like Gravy's gachi.
If I could date that gachi to an era, I'd say that's like a 90s, like late 80s, early 90s gachi.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think all gachis, though. I can't think of any gachi that looks like it's a current, like who's the millennial gachi or the Gen Z or whatever it is.
Let's see here. I'm just thinking
bun
about like
is
wearables,
like golden man bun.
Yeah, probably the man bun, and then you probably at least have like a treasure, a man bun, and then you gotta have like a cactus. You gotta have like a mythical cactus or something.
The shaman hoodie with the poncho.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, that could be 70s too, like Fear and Loathing kind of.
Totally. That shaman poncho, man, that's my favorite wearable because I have the real shaman poncho. Like I have the IRL one. Actually, I might go grab it. I don't really know where it is actually, but I'll have it next time around. I want to show you guys like this thing is exactly like the mythical shaman poncho. I need the hoodie though. If you're out there and you're listening, I need the shaman poncho hoodie. So let's work out a deal. I'll get a schematic. I'll go for a schematic, or I'll go for the whole thing. We can work something out.
Yeah, that'd be great. So is there any other artworks? Oh, we've seen these other artworks already.
Yeah, we've seen the Mount Oof. We've seen the burnt toast. Toshi. The burnt Toshi. The Titan of Regolith. This was made by Thrax. So this was one of the latest Thrax pieces. There's 11 of these.
Yeah, shout out to Thrax. He had posted earlier about a health scare. We hope that he's like, feeling better and everything's fine. Just keep him in your thoughts.
Yeah, glad to hear he's doing well and he was able to avoid any sort of negative outcomes or, health scares going south. Now imagine trying to fight this thing. Like imagine if this Titan of Regolith was actually a real monster that was it was rumored that this monster was out in the realm somewhere and that we had to go fight it. And it would take a crew of at least 50 gachis to take on this thing.
Well, it's like the
and you have to build Yeah, like you have to build your roster carefully because if you pick the wrong 50 gachis, you're just gonna get fucked. So if you pick the right combination, you have just enough tanks, you brought just enough archers, and now you're gonna go fight this thing. I still think I'd be a little bit intimidated fighting this crazy monster.
Yeah, it looks intense. Like that's also a thing to think about. Like, we were talking about how we've waited a year. We've been talking for a year about the arena and all these like features, and they're here now. So thinking back, it's been about 5-6 months until like the Torquay chase, right? I don't think we're that far away from spawned PvE like enemies hitting us back. And then like all these stats will actually matter, like if you're getting smacked around by a pumpkin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what was that lore that we saw last Saturday? We were going to build off of that. I'm curious to know what's going to happen tomorrow, because last Saturday there was a raffle that presented a riddle to us on this like log that had popped through the Gachiverse. It looked like it came from the Tree of Fud, maybe.
I'm thinking we see something associated with the Great Battle. It might not actually be the Great Battle yet, but it could, like, I could see like another invasion type event, like a pumpkin or a turkey.
But something so should we be ready to fight tomorrow is the question.
Yeah. I mean, why not? You're going to have your gachi and maybe a controller. There should be enough of us there to defend our lands. My worry is that one of these invasions, I've always worried that the invasions or the game itself is going to be like a long event. Like we're talking like, weeks, 24 hours a day. And it's like, oh crap. Like I can't, guys, I got a life. I'll be able to help out on Saturdays during the hangout. Maybe a little bit in the evenings and in the mornings, but we're going to need a like dedicated fighting force.
Oh, totally. And we might even need rotations. I remember doing this raid in World of Warcraft one time. And this specific raid, and like so many people had done it with teams. You compose a team, you go do it. And it took us on average about 6 to 7 hours to finish this. You can repeat it. You can keep doing it and accumulating resources, but every time it was like 6 to 7 hours at least of commitment, sometimes even longer. Some of the bigger ones could be even longer.
Yeah, that's a lot. When we're at CBDC UBI, then sure. All the letters, fine. Then I'll sit here all day and play games.
Well, maybe the CBDC UBI for us is the Alchemica. Maybe the Alchemica becomes so valuable that it's like I'm going to dedicate the next 7 or 8 hours of my life trying to get this thing because the bag is so enticing. Maybe this regolith monster that we're looking at right now. Let's say we had to go slay this thing, but maybe it had like thousands of dollars in Alchemica that it would spill if you're able to actually kill it. Like that would incentivize me. Even taking aside just the enjoyableness of it, that would like up the ante. Like that would make that battle even more exciting. You're gonna go out and fight this thing, and you might get thousands of dollars in Alchemica. If you're able to actually kill it.
Yeah, but then you really have to bot proof it, because if not, it's going to just
Yeah,
become frustrating.
absolutely, absolutely. The incentives would be high for botting there, incredibly high.
Yeah, because you don't even need to technically bot the fight. What you have to do is have the bots ready at the end of the fight to do, their gotchi Roomba.
But see, if it was out in the grid, then you'd have to make sure at least part of your crew is on watch after guarding everybody else picking shit up. And if any of those bots got near, they would just get murked and they'd get removed immediately.
Well,
And
honestly, I'm
so,
like discounting the grid altogether. I think I've said it before. I like the supply we have of land. It's 30,000 units right now. It goes up to 55 if we open up the rest of the Citadel, which we need to do, because if not, they're just blank spaces all over the place. But that 30,000 is close at least to matching the 24,000 roughly gotchis that could be in existence if you don't, if you take out the sacrifice ones. There's still, I think, 3 or 4,000 unopened portals, or like gotchis that haven't been summoned from open portals. So, there's a limited number of gotchis. The land, there's not that much. So I hope that we don't get, we get to grid. We need mass adoption. Grid should not be released any like remotely close to anything. I don't see the grid coming for years.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 30-year project, right? So, I mean, to actually implement something like that, to introduce tens of thousands of more parcels, you're going to need exponential adoption, which we haven't seen yet. But I've seen it happen in Axie Infinity, where the land became so expensive that it became completely unobtainable. Like, floor price of land was like $10,000. And I don't think that really needs to be the case. I think all the Citadel land will always be highly valuable, but at that point, it's like, all right, let's preserve the value of that Citadel land as like the Genesis city, but let's also open up the grid for maybe people that might not have $10,000. They might only have $1,000 or $2,000. They can buy this like tier 3 and tier 4 land that might be released at a later time. And it'd be also a great fundraise for the DAO at that point too. We would actually gain a lot out of those sales as a DAO.
Yeah, this is true.
But the right time, like you said, timing is everything. If we release stuff like that now, it's just going to devalue everything else.
Yeah. I remember back in the day where I thought I was prepared to spend $4,000 or $5,000 to get US dollars to get one piece of land, because I like the speculation was so like I remember like thinking that Humbles would be $100. I remember getting 14 parcels and being like, "Woo, I made out like a bandit," and like thinking I was gonna spend like spaciouses were gonna be a lot more. I mean, in that first auction, some of them went for a lot, and the floor was like around 1,000 ghost, which at that time was still $2,000 per piece of land. Where now I think you can get like a spacious for maybe $400, maybe $500.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, times have changed. Like perspective has changed.
Yeah.
But also it's times like this where maximum opportunity presents itself.
Yep.
And so people that are looking in the market can find, like we saw a couple spaciouses in District 12 the other day for around 370 ghost. And in the same district, there's reasonables that were close by going for 320 ghost. And so there's a huge disparity in the price of certain parcels compared to others in specific locations.
No, it's true, man. Like I have clients with level nines. Shout out to Grim. And what I've started doing is looking around in the neighborhood of their level nine, so that if I were to do agreements where I rented gotchis and we did splits based off of extra gotchis, and I'm handling their extra capacity on the altar, I can just walk over easily. I have land that I bought just because it's near the level nine, but for some reason, like almost every like level nine that I've looked at, the land prices are inflated. Like I've paid up to $100 for a humble that has nothing on it just to be near my level nine that I can hit over and over again without having to walk 5 minutes in the Gotchiverse. Like just that convenience matters to me. But I'm also leaving it unopened. I have no intentions of popping those portals yet. I mean parcels yet, just because I have so many of them, and there's no rush.
There's no rush, and I mean it makes sense. You could take this parcel and just like put an art gallery on it and find some other aesthetic utility for it for now or whatever, or just leave it until you actually need it, or need the yield from it. But right now is also a great time to build up your farms. I think it's a great time to, if you are going to be long term on in the farming game. I think the prices right now to actually start upgrading your farms and your equipment might be it might be a good time. Like we upgraded a whole bunch of the GMI stuff this week on our parcel, so we do actually have like an operational farming setup now. Finally,
Nice. You can make it
uh,
rain.
yeah, I mean, at least make it rain a little bit. I think we're at level 3 right now across all our things, but we'll be leveling it up, getting it up there because I think it's worth the yield long term.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I am happy because I went in and my main parcel I upgraded to level nine just so I can have more capacity to handle the gotchis I channel. And right now it was 411 die to go from 11 from a level 8 to level 9, which I think is the cheapest I've ever seen it. So I went in there, and but this last week I said I spent 270 ghost upgrading FOMO like harvesters up to level 8. So this week I was able to push a couple of them up to level 9, and it's like, oh, this is definitely the time. I mean, it just makes sense. Also, like we know confirmed there's gonna be, or at least I do, there's gonna be another Alchemica spending competition. The Mark has said it publicly that part of the feedback he got from everybody that filled out those forms was that they want to do this quarterly. So he's trying his best to kind of deliver that. I don't think it's going to happen this quarter. It might be a little bit. It might not happen until May because he has a lot of other stuff happening. But there are going to be more spending competitions. So inherently it makes sense to build now. Like counterintuitive, you want to do it during the spending competition to win the reward. But the last time this happened, I watched FOMO double in price. So it's like, all right,
Yeah.
like people are going to want to get that, like, because basically it's a rebate on your build. So, and a lot of people have already built out as much as they can. They're literally going to need to go buy new land, which supports my idea that unopened land is going to be more valuable in the future. So I built a lot in terms of my FOMO farming. Also, because there's like you can hear it in the wind that channeling's about to be nerfed, like to a degree. So it's like I might as well I want to be like T-Bird. We talked about it in Denver, and he has a nice farming setup, and he was telling me about the returns on it, and I was like, damn, I need to focus on farming more. I don't want to empty my parcels, but I might as well, while prices are low, go in and do some cheap upgrades.
Yeah, that's the way we're thinking about it too, is just cheap upgrades. And I initially started an alpha farm, which I think long run is going to do really well, but in the short run is just totally gotten crushed in terms of what it's actually worth. What I'm thinking is it's a good idea to be stocking up on alpha if you already got the farm. Like I already put the money into it, it's already working, and so I'm already collecting alpha every day. I'm just going to accumulate it because it's not worth it for me to sell it right now. What I could do actually is start crafting potions, and if there's ways to sell the potions, I could just start crafting potions with my alpha and selling it because I feel like that would be a better return than actually selling any of the alpha.
Yeah, see, that'd be an interesting hustle. I don't know if you could sell those potions. Can you?
No, that's the missing link, bro. It's like if right now you can't sell them, you can only buy them to use them. But if we were to implement as a DAO and say, we can actually sell these potions, I think that might open some. It might open some earning like potential up, and that might drive people to start crafting more potions and maybe even starting more alpha and kek farms because that's that's what the potions are made out of.
Yeah, that'd be great. I've sorry, my screen is so small it's hard to see. I would love. I've thought about like upping my farming for other stuff, but I went with FOMO because I already had like a nice little build for FOMO stuff. But yeah, it's like alpha. Alpha's definitely, I think, not financial advice, but definitely undervalued.
Yeah.
But it's just also cheaper to go with FOMO or FUD. FUD's just not worth it at this point, but I should pivot towards it because I think it's going to see a nice bounce.
Yeah, they all have their use cases, right? Like I think FOMO is doing really well short term here because it's used for anything mechanical. Anything social related, anything arena or battle related is probably going to use a lot of alpha and kek. That's what I'm starting to see here. And of course, building your lodges out and all that. Hopefully that does come at some point later in the year. That's probably going to take massive resources, especially alpha and kek. They talked about some other installations that might be alpha and kek heavy. So right now is a good time. If you want to be a little strategic, it might be a good time right now, not financial advice, to at least put a small bag away of some alpha and some kek, because these are late game resources, and it's good to have them now when it's really cheap to accumulate them, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is true. Can't go wrong just building a bag, right?
No, absolutely. Speaking of which, what do y'all say? We got some friends in here. What if we jump into the arena a little bit? We got 6 players online. I got my one gotchi. It's not the best gotchi, but it was doing okay this morning with the crew. It's a sniper. And so I will back you guys up. But if you want to just hang out in the arena for a bit, and let's just hang out there. Let's just see what happens here.
I'm really quickly gonna use the bathroom, so just
Okay.
vamp for a minute.
Nope, no, absolutely. Let's do that. Who do we got in the chat here? Who do we got in the house? Tonight's just me and you in the house. We do have some viewers, I think, on Gotchiverse Media. So yeah, so we have OXZ5, we got Choina, McCallum. You guys are all watching. Avagachi Ghost Ship. That's T-Bird, Light Piglet. Welcome everybody. I'm glad to see the chat rolling here. It seems like everything all is well. Nice. Okay, everything is looking good. I'm just checking up on the stream now to make sure everything's all good there. And it seems like we're doing great. This is live, and T-Bird, you're in the arena now. I'm gonna go link up with you. We're gonna start strategizing our plan a little bit here. OXZ5, McCallum, Choina, y'all can join me. Light Piglet, you're welcome to join us. Let's go mess around. Let's have some arena shenanigans here.
Yeah, I'll join you guys in a second. I still have a lot of gotchis I have to channel. I have to at least get to the level 4s. I actually started dropping some clients this week. I have clients who they have like very low splits that we work out, but they also they don't have land that they have very low level land, and it's like I can't continue to channel these gotchis because I'm losing money because of the Matic fee.
Would you take GMI on as a client? We need someone to channel our land and
well, how high is your land?
Well, we're not there yet, but we're trying to get it up to like level 6 or 7.
Hey, I make you a deal. Create an Orium safe. Insert your gotchis. You can now vote with them through the Orium safe, and then delegate your assets to my scholarship, which is Avagachi Scholarship number 26. The names are going to be coming like in the next week or so for the scholarships. If you do that, I have a level 9. I can go and channel on level 9s pretty much every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's good for the gotchi. Like, that's good for channeling the gotchis, which makes sense. But I'm referring to like dumping the reservoirs and doing the farming maintenance.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, because my scholarship, the one I have set up, the only fee we have, they were fixing something in our system where you can't put land split to 0. So Ernani has these level 9s. He right now, like the landowners only get 1% of the yield from the Alchemica. And then my guild fee is 5%. So if I empty your land, you would lose 6 or 7% because there's also a 5% fee off the very top that goes to Orium. So I could do that. And it's like, basically you'd be paying out like maybe 11% to empty your land, but you wouldn't have to, because you're the owner and the scholar. Well, no, we would have to set up a different agreement because right now I'm the owner and scholar for my own. Yeah, I can figure that out. I'll probably set up a second scholarship. But if we do that, then you can empty the land and it would go to your Orium safe.
So what's the, what's the total take on your guys' part?
The way it works right now from the Orium platform, it's 5% off the top. But what we're doing is that 5% is being used for eventual leaderboard competitions. But I guess I can announce it here. I'm going to start doing a weekly Twitter space / Discord event in the Orium network Discord, like their amphitheater, essentially their stage, where I'm going to get an allocation of the fees that we generate and do, go to the Orium estate once a week to host like a conversation with the community and just do super chats, dropping the fees that we're receiving. So our plans, at least for the first year, I can't quote the exact time because I have to talk to Hernani, but we have plans of just all of the fees that we're taking in. We're just going to redistribute either via leaderboards or these type of events for the community.
Oh shit! So it's going to be circular. Like all the fees that are collected are eventually rolled into leaderboards, and then those are competed for.
Yeah. So starting as soon as this Thursday coming up. The only reason I say maybe not this Thursday is because I'm traveling that day. But starting as soon as potentially this Thursday, we're going to start hosting these super chat parties, and he's going to start giving me, like part of whatever our fees are from our weekly, every week for me to do super chats while we host this social event.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enjoyable.
And then for my guild specifically, as the guild scholarship, like the Music City Gotcha Gang Guild, I've set the fee that my guild charges is 5%. So that's the only other thing. The landowner gets 1%. We want to put it at 0, but he has to fix the UI to change that. So once that is the case, then I'll start another guild with the 0%. And then it's like you have access to the Orium network level 9s, and then eventually it's going to be set up where I have other people's land. I've already had spoken to some people, because what I'm trying to do is actually move all of this stuff into my guild and then have delegate this stuff to other people. Like Orium guild itself has a whole bunch of scholars, so very soon, like with Grim, once we get him into Orium, set up his safe, we won't even need his land. We'll have our own land that we can channel on. And instead of me channeling, I'm going to like pretty much outsource that work to other scholars who can cover like overnight. Like people, well, Brazil's not really a good example because those scholars are, I think, off by like 1 or 2 hours. But like I'm going to start reaching out to, we saw QUElatoors, I think that guy.
QUElatoors. Yeah. I mean, that's actually the reason why I'm asking you, is because he approached us for a rate to do our land maintenance and taking care of everything. So I was trying to figure out like who has the best rates. We're shopping a little bit right now.
Go with him or her, but I'm probably going to reach out to them. Yeah, depending on what part of the world, I'm going to look for basically 24-hour coverage, and people delegate their assets to my guild, my scholarship, and then I'll find the scholars and delegate all the assets to them, with just like making sure, during these hours with your gotchis, go and channel. And then, we'll have it set up so that then my land is free. Like the client's land is free. Like if we do this right, I could probably channel a third of Grimm's gotchis on the level 9 that I have in my possession through my scholarship. So that opens up more channeling for him to go and seek rentals on the open market if he wants to do that. But eventually, if the land is in the vault, or not the vault, the safe, and it's delegated to the scholarship, we can then have scholars channel on the land, and the excess channels, your excess capacity that's being used, you're getting paid out not only through your gotchi, but through a land split if it's not your gotchi. It's all coming together slowly but surely.
Dude, yeah, you guys are building out a massive kind of system there, and I'm kind of curious to mess around with the vaults a little bit. I think it's something I'm gonna try out just to see how it all works. But yeah, so QUElatoors is actually now also becoming kind of like a client of your guys's.
Well, no, I'm gonna speak to them and onboard them hopefully as a scholar. Like, yo, I got gotchis and I have land. Can you do it? What hours work for you? Because I'm still going to be a scholar, like in that sense, but I've been like, we're approaching almost a year of channeling every day. I've missed 9 days or 8 days in ETH Denver. And before that, maybe 1 day, like other than days where the subgraph was off and I was freaking out because I couldn't like do the work. Yeah, this will be, it's good to have that break from channeling.
No, absolutely. I can imagine it's taxing after a while. It's a very autonomous. You said you used to do Mechanical Turks. It's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, it's worse because, like, at least with Mechanical Turks, like, I don't have to worry about a gas spike in the middle of it. It's like I can start and stop, and my computer never crashes, but or the fucking network is down, so I can't do it. It's pretty automated. It works pretty well. And then there's also a variety in the task for Mechanical Turks. This is worse because this is just one task done over and over and over again.
Yeah, no, totally. It's very mundane.
Yeah, but I still love it. But I'm ready. The Chanimal's ready to retire. He's moving on to management, friends. I got to go and be a director.
You got to move on. Eventually, you can't be the guy fixing all the table legs. You got to go now and manage the restaurant,
Yeah, 100%. Oh, I love this gotcha right here. This gotcha, oh, you can't see it, but I'll show it now. This one is, I bought 2 unopened portals. I mean, 2 closed portals, right? So one of the portals, I think this is it. It was a 520 gotcha. So my girlfriend's name is Marissa. So she always, whenever we go to play pool, she always puts up her name as Assiram because that's Marissa spelled backwards. So she completely endorses this. So I named this gotcha Assiram, but there's like censor rules in the gotcha-verse where the word ass would be blocked out. So I put it as the dollar signs for Assiram. So I'm going to go in and channel Assiram on a level 9.
Nice.
Yeah, I have her MetaMask set up, so I'm going to eventually transition this gotcha to her and then take it and rent it to me so I can channel and earn her something passively. But I'm just like kind of being its steward right now, making sure it's having a good time in the gotcha-verse.
Absolutely, man. That's what I did with Dior. I bought Dior. I made sure I got the gotcha up to spec where I liked it, and then I handed it off. And Natasha takes care of it now. So
yeah, it's
But I was surprised though, man. She hasn't said anything about this gotcha, but this gotcha, the one she has is top 100 XP. So.
Oh crap! Yeah. Oh, Hefe, bring back your screen in the arena instead of me full stream.
Right. Let's just switch it around. We're learning, friends. We're learning. I was thinking we should try and set up some guild tourneys if we're going to be doing this every Friday night. I'd love to set up like a little mini tournament and just like host like a little guild duel. Like we got the portal mages hanging out in here right now. I'd love to get the Gotcha Mafia involved and then also have the GMI friends.
You've already team up. You're reading my mind. I literally had a meeting 2 days ago with Hernani about this. Like, hey, we have guild partners. I want to start sponsoring via super chat guild fights. The only real issue at hand is that there's no way once we have private instances and we do live streams and tournaments, it'll be easier. But if we wanted to do a tournament now, there's no way to ensure that no extra gotchis don't get involved in the fight. Like if it would be great to just be able to be like, know that there, if we want to do 2v2 from guilds, that there's they can run around and do whatever they want without fear of Addison or Hardcore coming and murking them.
Well, luckily Hardcore is not in here right now, but yeah, I totally get what you mean.
Oh, which gotcha am I?
Yeah, man, I love that. I've seen Orium's been making all those partnerships lately, so that's been cool to see. I think that's like a precursor to everything you just said here.
Yeah, I'm trying to build out the. I've always like user OX default does a lot of this work too, and I like really do think that like it doesn't matter the market conditions if you have a strong and entertained community. If the community is bored and if the utility isn't the community, then they will complain about everything. If the price is falling, no one cares about the floor price if everybody's having fun. So that has to be the goal all the time. It's like trying to like my son's mother has this kind of experience. She grew up poorer than me, but her parents never let her know that she was poor. She didn't discover that she was really poor until we started dating, and I was like, wait, do you see where we live? We're poor. Like, we're the poor people. That illusion. Like, sometimes you have to do that to keep the kids happy. And we're the kids, so it's good if we have a strong community. So I really have been trying to focus on that, like, and add to it in my own ways, and just expand.
No, totally. That and it's all perspective, right? Like you say, you're with your girlfriend, her perspective didn't go beyond her environment, what she knew, what she understood, what she grew up around. And so I think that is an admirable aspect of human beings in general, though, is the fact that we can adapt to some of the worst situations and actually make something out of it, make something positive out of it.
Yeah.
So we're in the arena right now. We got Lord Hales on deck. We got Addison in the arena. We got Mike Callum in here. I'm getting beat up right now. It's hard to focus and do the podcast and defend yourself at the same time. But I'm looking this as training, because we're going to be doing a lot of this as we get into things like the Great Battle, as we get into like missions and quests. We're going to have to like exercise the skill of like actually being really good gamers while also being able to discuss things. It's going to be a skill set.
All right, sure. I'm on my way in. We got 5 minutes left. I'll give Addison some. We'll let Addison buff his stats real quick for that final leaderboard.
Here we go.
My attack still doesn't work. It's the weirdest thing. Just if I hit I've mapped the buttons.
Are you using the controller?
Yeah, I'm using the controller right now. But with the controller, for some reason, I killed my first gotchi. Instead of mapping, like Q and R are mapped here, but instead it just pops up the console. I've told Coder Dan this, but they haven't fixed it yet. So it's like I have to use I use the joypad to move around on the controller, but I'm using a mouse to actually initiate attacks. So it's very inefficient. But I mean, it's better than using the keyboard.
You're using a controller and a mouse while you fight?
Yeah, this is why I blow in the arena. Like when in the Gotchiverse, it's a lot easier to do when we have attacks on like PvE, because I can map the attack to the spacebar is mapped and it works fine. So like whenever we did any of those things, I would place very highly on the leaderboards because it was all condensed into the one thing. But now for some reason in the arena, my attack can't be mapped to my controller. For the Q and R, it brings up the console instead of having the attack. And I've tried resetting the mapping. Let's just make sure I'm not crazy. Yeah, Q and R are mapped, but it's just not like letting me do it. I don't know. Maybe it's these. Maybe I have to. No, that's different. That's different. Gamepad. Let's see.
Who's Monty Python, man? This guy, he's
I think that's Light Piglet.
I picked the wrong fight. I picked the wrong fight. Let's just say that.
Yeah, Light Piglet has that, like, if that is Light Piglet, that's
I confuse Light Piglet and T-Bird because they have they're rocking a similar outfit here.
Yeah, like that mythical setup. So I've thought about, I have to like really upgrade my, I'm coming in. Lord Hills. We're partners, so I'm not going to hit you. I'm just going to run by.
It's like I'm being a little bit of a shithead here because I know his gotchi's like 3 times stronger than mine, but I'm still trying to range him out here on this.
I'm just going to sit here and put hearts up.
I just got one hit by Light Piglet. All right, there we go. That's all I need to know.
Who is Charlie XCX? I'm going to pretend like I'm not fighting. And
that's Mike Callum. I'm pretty sure that's Mike Callum. I'm pretty sure that's him.
This is for making me wait for my payment for Eve Denver. Oh, I died. Oh, Monty Python is T-Bird.
Oh, I killed Lord Hills. He's coming out for blood now. He's coming back. I killed him when he was on his knees too. I mean, you do that to someone like Lord Hills, and he's gonna fight back.
Trying to get my Callium. I'm dead again. I can't do this with 2 different hands. It's so weird. Let's see. Grim, I'm sorry. I know I probably should be channeling your level 9s right now. There's a little slippage going on. I'm defending my Gotchi honor. Yeah, I've been looking at my Gotchis.
Oh, I got one. Jeez, you can't mess around with these portal mages, man. I got a nice AP Gotchi, so he can do long range for days and just stand outside of your little battle circles and just snipe away. But as soon as I get hit, I'm like a one hit.
Oh,
I'm
man,
like a
I
one
got
hit.
killed.
Yeah, I'm a one hit.
I was killed by Ad. I'm guessing that's Addison.
That is Addison.
Yeah, he has a full portal mage set. Oh, Hefe. We're going to duke it out now. Don't run.
Are we? Okay.
Oh, damn. I hit you once and it, oh, there goes the dash. All right. We're just going to, oh, Lord Hill's coming
double
in.
Teamed here.
Trying to kill Hills. Now I have to run. Just going to run away.
See, this Gotchi, he has high energy, so he got lots of AP. Got godlike AP, but not very good across the board. Like not great melee, not great range. Just kind of average everything. It's my namesake Gotchi. I gotta rent out some other ones to myself.
Well, friends, it's 8 o'clock or the top of the hour again.
Time flies, man.
Time flies. Yeah. We had a lot of good talks. Very dystopian at the top. We're all going to die. AI is going to kill us. We didn't even talk about that. But, you know, while the central banks are going to make us poor and then the AI is going to kill us. So that's the first thing. But otherwise, it's been a lot of fun.
In the meantime, enjoy the Gotchiverse.
Yeah. Zombie Time Music Hour, right? Is Zombie Shepheard back tonight or is it going to be Z-Fi hosting?
I don't know. Shout out in the chat. You guys know? Zombie Shepheard, Z-Fi.
Who's commanding the microphone?
Who is commanding the mic? Oh, they're both on. Zombie in the house.
Double duty. I like that. All right. So
very cool.
We're gonna have to get awkward to make some music and put Gotchi on my mind into that rotation and have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. That needs to go live. We need to hear that live.
Yeah. So we should sign off and switch over to them. This is our first time doing this through the restream, at least as Blockpaarty. How does this work? How are we going to exit? Do you put up an image and play music, or like what's going to happen? We're just going to stop the stream.
We're just going to have to do it. We're just going to have to do it just bare bones today, man. I think I don't have anything to play here, but next week we can prepare a whole bunch of stuff. I can maybe talk to you. We can see what media we can play up here. We'll have a nice exit. They'll be all good. We'll be iterating on this.
Yeah, this is perfect. It'll be easy for me next week while I'm in New York to just set up my camera and do this and not have to worry about all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of lightweight, right? In that sense. So that's good.
That is great. All right. I put my image up for District 420 if you want to use that as the bump out, but we can also just keep it. Just come back.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I'll put it back on. Friends, we'll see you in an hour for the Syncopator, GMI.
Peace.
Peace.